Last week on Gleeboot, they sang Wham! Blaine and Sam discussed Blaine's crush on Sam, and Tina dressed up as the robot from Small Wonder. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Okay, so spoilers for listeners. I'm back. It's Hannah. It's me, your girl.
Let's go, Hannah.
I was so bummed because I didn't hate the episode. I quite enjoyed it, and I didn't get to talk about it. I was really upset. Also, I think basically my notes consist of every time they're like, except for Barry Manilow, I literally was like, who doesn't love this artist? Why would you feel guilty about liking the Spice Girls? Are you people insane?
I felt the same. Basically, everyone was like, everyone except Barry Manilow.
Yeah, like I was like, Barry Manilow, I'm like, yeah, no, you should be ashamed. But
I didn't sing anything from the Thumbelina score, so
sad.
Gleeboot. We'll be able to talk a little bit about my reaction to the last episode that I also wasn't on, the one before the previous. So that'll be exciting.
And you did miss, I had a great joke about our guest last week that he's someone who made your life more difficult without knowing you, because he was my friend who was in an all-white production of The Wiz.
He's Cullen's inspiration.
Oh, and do you remember when you pitched that and everyone instantly was like, oh my God, that's the episode we have to write. And you were like, oh no, what have I done?
Get a bunch of white kids in a room and tell them to write an episode of Blackish, and that's what you get.
That's only going to go well. Anyway, are we going to introduce ourselves?
Yes.
Is this how it works? I don't even remember.
Welcome back
We do this.
to Gleeboot, the show that gets drunk and talks about rebooting Glee one episode at a time. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
And I'm Hannah.
And I can say with confidence that this episode will not be in the reboot.
Yes.
The most confidence ever. Yeah, no, we've got thoughts. You okay, Alyssa?
I'm having a moment. There's so many bad things.
Face palming already. We haven't even started talking about the episode.
Yeah.
I literally just finished watching it like 2 hours ago. So it's fresh. Rough.
Yeah, I want us to be thinking about the entire time, is this worse than the Rocky Horror Glee show?
I feel like they're separate animals.
Yes. But we can talk about the validity of that comparison. We can talk about that because that's interesting. And spoilers, it's going to be yes, but for a different reason.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
One of these things exists in our universe as an incident that could happen. The other is a fantastical nightmare that haunts me. There you go.
It's like those Versus YouTube videos, and like one is a mountain lion and the other is Bigfoot, and you're like, the mountain lion could actually happen, but Bigfoot is also very dangerous.
That's a really good point.
That's a good point, except part of me feels like Alyssa believes in Bigfoot. If I had to pick someone I knew as a Bigfoot believer, I would pick Alyssa.
Honestly, you don't know what kind of magical powers Bigfoot has. Could be very...
Oh, you didn't even just say you don't even know what kind of magical powers like could be out there like a Bigfoot. You just said you don't know what Bigfoot can do. So you're right, Cullen.
I basically believe in anything that is a conspiracy theory because it's more fun that way.
Oh, well, then you're going to love this episode.
It's more fun to live your life believing in conspiracy theories. Come at me.
I would say yes to some. Ones that are going to like pose a threat to your actual sanity.
No, not those.
But Bigfoot, yeah, for sure. I'm all about that.
Loch Ness, Bigfoot, all the cryptids. For sure.
I can even jump into flat Earth sometimes. I'm like, you know what? That's a good point, flat Earther.
Have you ever
but
seen?
But also, I believe in Hotel Transylvania.
I don't understand the reference.
It's an animated.
Have you not seen that movie?
No, why would I watch that movie?
It's like fine.
But it's like for 5-year-olds.
Yeah, it's like, this is great for 5-year-olds.
I am at least 13 years old in my mind. And I drink alcohol.
All right. If you can tell by our manner, there's no
We
guest
don't want
this
to
week.
talk about this episode,
No,
too.
we don't.
Yeah, my sister was like, I'll go on, like, I'm a teacher, I'm experienced with, like, school shooting protocol. And I was like, I don't want to put you through this.
That and, like, I also feel like it would be a disservice to her and her experience having to go through those, not alerts.
Like, drills. And, yeah.
Anyway.
But, in good news, I texted Hannah this. Netflix is making a Christmas movie with Cord Overstreet and Lindsay Lohan.
I'm invested.
Did you just say, I think you said like, I'm fucking screaming or I'm so fucking excited or something like that.
Yeah, and I posted an Instagram reel of me talking about how excited I am for this movie. Because like...
Are they going to be love interests?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he's like a blue collar worker and she is like some rich person that ends up stuck in like a small town, I think.
I mean, that's how they all go.
I'm like, I can't wait for this to play out exactly how I expect it to. With two wild choices for leads. Though
That's the charm of Christmas movies. You get comfortable with Christmas movies. You sit down, you're like, I know what I'm getting into. That's exactly what you get.
Yeah. And if you sit down and you put that on for yourself, you choose it, you are going to be happy about that choice as well.
Yeah, it's like choosing your most comfortable blanket and snuggling.
And now I'll have another piece of media to explain who Cord Overstreet is when he's my celebrity crush.
There you go. Yeah, for sure.
Not a bad choice for a celebrity crush.
Yeah, it's him and Richard
Seriously.
Madden. Yeah.
Oh my God, shut up. I'm literally rewatching Bodyguard right now.
He's so
Have you seen
hot.
it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God. Oh God, Cullen. Cullen. Scottish voice. It's
I just saw
beautiful.
Eternals with him in it.
Yeah. Does he use his actual accent in it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I probably won't see it.
It's like good. Not like good. It's like, it's good.
Yeah. Mixed reviews. Very mixed reviews. It's really hot or cold out there. Anyway, we're talking about Glee. What are we drinking?
Alyssa and I have Angry Orchard hard cider.
Yes, we're both drinking the hard cider, and it's the unfiltered. And there's something about it that is like, I think it's because it's unfiltered, like it's super sour.
Oh,
But
interesting.
It's got this weird aftertaste that I associate with olives, and it's real strange.
Is there vinegar in your hard cider?
But there's no vinegar in my olives. That's the thing.
Isn't that what olives are steeped in? Vinegar, right?
No, it depends on the olives, I think.
I don't know anything about olives.
I was going to try and drink a whole bottle of wine for this, but Rafa wants me to drive somewhere, so...
Oh, so you are driving.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So you're only going to have the one thing.
Yeah.
That's nice. I have a whale cup of Diet Dr. Pepper and rum that I just threw together because I was like, I need alcohol. And then I forgot that there's like 20 little mini bottles of sangria in there. So maybe I'll switch to that later. Or to help me forget this episode.
Oh boy. All right, here we go.
So we have 4 storylines, and we're going to discuss them in the order of how much I hate them.
Oh no.
Number 1, most hated storyline, the school shooting. Number 2, most hated storyline.
Oh wait, we gotta say what episode we're watching. It's called
Shooting star.
Let's just sit with that. A moment of silence. Okay.
Hannah just made the sign of the cross with the only non-Catholic on this podcast.
Yeah, so out the gate, Cullen already said the first storyline is a school shooting called Shooting Star. I mean, I don't have anything else to say.
They try and fake
Episode's
us out.
over.
They try and fake us out by having Brittany talk about like a meteor
or a comet or an asteroid
or a meteorite.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, we'll talk about that, but I love that they kept correcting her, trying to get her to be like, oh, it's actually no, it's this other thing. It was good. Science stuff. What's the next storyline?
I hate this a lot too. It is Beast confessing her feelings to Will.
Yeah.
As I said to Allyssa as we watched this, nobody asked for this. Nobody wanted this.
It's literally been an entire season since we've even seen them together. Why is this a thing?
Or that we've even seen her.
Yeah,
and then
she
also,
didn't exist.
It's just like, obviously we'll get to it, but like the storyline is just to watch her suffer again.
Yeah. Yeah, because I turned to Allyssa. I was like, they interacted this season?
No.
Because he was gone, and then we also didn't really see her either.
We saw her interacting with Finn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about
when
it.
he first showed up.
And if we shipped them, their ship name could be Feast.
Hey.
And they both love eating. It's honestly more chemistry than her and Will.
Yeah, it makes more sense, honestly.
And then we got, but her and Will's ship name is Weast, so not a fan. Then we get an okay storyline, which is the writer catfishing drama.
Oh, yeah.
Which wasn't resolved. It was not resolved.
At all.
And then we get my favorite storyline of the F, but that definitely did not belong. Lord and Lady Tubbington.
I feel like that goes kind of hand in hand with the meteorite.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that would be the meteorite thing.
And she names it Tubbington Bop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Baby Bop from Barney.
Yeah.
But that's like a real name for like asteroids and stars, right?
Bob?
Yeah, what's it? Yeah. There is one.
It is, but I don't remember why.
Yeah.
Maybe they're all named after Baby Bop.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Comet Bop. Also, speaking of bops, I was at Target today and they showed an in-store ad for Kids Bop 2022. Didn't realize they were still making Kids Bop music. Yeah, Comet Hail Bop. That's
okay.
a thing, I guess.
I went on a date once with the Kids Bop Kids manager.
Oh. How did that go?
What was that like?
I mean, he's a normal person. It was like a fairly normal date.
Well,
Okay,
that is
that's
reassuring.
Yeah, that's refreshing. That's not what I thought. Ooh.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, this person definitely is a weirdo. This guy loves Kids Bop. It's his favorite music. Also, I always thought that was weird. Okay, totally another side tangent. I don't want to talk about this episode. In The Sims 4, you can like pick what your Sims like to listen to, and one of them is like kids music. I was like, why would my adult Sim want to listen to kids music?
Peppa Pig has a higher
we love Peppa Pig.
She has a higher, I can't remember what score it was, like a higher like Apple Music score than Kanye.
Yeah. On one of his, it was like the same the album's released right on the same time. I think was it Yee? Was it that album or maybe the one before it? But yeah, Peppa Pig got better score from critics, I think it was, or something like
critics
that.
and audience, and they're like, Peppa Pig didn't need to hold stadium-wide listening parties to get her album to this.
Yeah. Peppa Pig is an OG. We love her.
Peppa Pig is an OG, and shame on Adele for not wanting to collab with her.
What?
When
Oh my God, yeah.
When Adele went on Instagram Live, this is my favorite video ever. So they asked, she's like, "Am I gonna collab with Peppa Pig?" No.
Oh wow, that was an amazing Adele impression.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Back on track, guys.
Yeah.
So let's the school shooting. Okay. I didn't write down notes because I hated it.
So we start with Brittany.
Well, no.
We're
That's
doing
the
it
Tubbington
from
Bop.
Yeah, we're doing it from hates to least hates, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not talking about.
So the basic premise is because Will is like trying to humor Brittany / get them to prepare for regionals. The theme of the week is last words or last songs.
Last chances.
Last chances. When Brittany disbands the astronomy club, which she apparently was president of, we'll explain why later. Becky is like, "I love you, Brittany. You're an inspiration. I want to stay here forever. The outside world is scary." And Brittany's like, "I can't stay here forever, and neither can you. Like, I'd love to be a Cheerio with you again, but like, we need to move on." And they hug.
She also happened to mention that she aced her SATs. So she's going to any college she wants, apparently. Yeah, so Becky is scared. That's what I got from this, that she's scared of moving on.
Yes.
Very normal reaction to being a senior in high school, I think. That's what I got from that. That's it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they're in the choir room and gunshots go off.
2 loud pops.
Yes. Very loud. Almost like her office is right next door, or sorry, the location where it happened was right next door.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird, but
there was actually at one point, who was talking about like, I do hunting, so I know what a gun sounds like.
Beast. Yeah.
She grew up on a farm, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's probably a little bit inaccurate.
I feel like they would have been more muffled, right? Like, unless they're like out in the hall, like that was a distinct pop, not like a boom kind of thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so you're dealing with having to shoot, number one, a separate type of weapon, because when you grow up on a farm, you're not shooting pistols.
Yeah, you're shooting a fucking shotgun, and that sounds way different.
Or an 18 gauge or something like that. And then also, you're also dealing with the fact that it's several rooms away in a room with a shut door.
Presumably.
Yeah.
JK, we know what happens. That's what happened.
Yeah. So,
well, the door I don't think is shut in the scene that we see. I think
it's not, because they shut the doors.
Yes.
Okay, well,
in the office.
Regardless,
yeah.
I feel like the person who wrote that for Beast probably doesn't hear gunshots a lot.
Well, I got one more for you. Her story wouldn't make any sense. We'll get to this, but there is a line about how this could have happened.
Oh, when Sue is explaining things?
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. So like the person who wrote this has no idea how gun safety works.
No, definitely not. I was a little up in arms.
Lyle and I were both like screaming.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my gosh, you can tell that the person who wrote this knows nothing about how guns work.
Which, again, we can get to this, but it lends to my overall opinion of the episode, and that it's poorly done, just done for drama, and frankly, the outcome of the sort of message we're supposed to take away from it is absolutely atrocious. Also, given the fact that this aired like 5 months after Sandy Hook.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
It's a hot button issue, quote unquote, that Glee is tackling. That
very poorly.
Let's just go step by step.
Okay. Yeah,
so the shots go off and we're in the choir room with everyone.
Yeah.
And then they instantly do lockdown. Like they shut the door.
They shut the doors, they close the light.
Everyone gets down.
Yep.
And then everyone is screaming. They're all like screaming, talking. Or like
yeah, you're supposed to be quiet. They eventually do quiet down, but not. I mean, they still need an episode, so they kind of have to talk.
Yeah, like the whole like sequence makes no sense because they're constantly talking. So she was like, okay, everyone, start texting, tweeting, don't tell them where we are, but let people know what's going on. And then people are texting. And it's like,
I thought they were going to be like, turn off the sound.
Like, what if
nothing?
That's so dumb. Also, you're in class. If you have your phone in class, you put that motherfucker on silent. Like, what are you doing? Marley!
There's so many, there's a lot of discrepancies here.
Us seeing them like this, we're going to be like, but that's so weird. What are they doing? What could they possibly doing on their smartphone after their teacher just told them to text and tweet? I mean, we definitely needed those clicks. Otherwise, I would have known what was happening. Of course I would have. That's sarcasm.
They also take Artie out of his chair.
That was weird.
I commented on that. Oh, I was very distraught because
what happens if they gotta run?
Way to escape. Yeah. Why would they take Artie out of his chair? Why?
There's a full ass piano for him to hide behind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was rough.
Anyway, that happened.
Sam is nervous because Brittany went to the bathroom and she doesn't have her phone on her.
Right. So everyone is in the choir room except for two people, Brittany and Tina.
Tina was running late, so she's outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sam at one point tries to make a run for it, and he's like, I can't wait, I have to go get Brittany. And they like have to shut him up and get him to stop. And it's this whole
they hold him and hold his mouth shut.
Physically restrain him. And honestly, this was the point when I was like, Court Overstreet's probably, like he's a pretty good actor. I can see this.
Like
it was very dramatic.
I think this sequence would have been fine in a different show.
Yeah.
For a different reason.
Yes.
Because it was very intense. I was very emotionally invested. I think there's a lot that's good and effective about it from a audience standpoint. Even just that, like watching it is very intense.
Not for Glee though.
It's but then there's also like Artie starts recording everyone in the who's like sitting there.
This confused me to no end.
Like, one, you have to shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to talk. Even when we were doing drills, and honestly, like we were total assholes as children and probably should have taken it a bit more seriously, especially considering the state of the world. But we would just be sitting there like laughing and, and our teachers would get furious with us because they were taking it seriously. They had to. So it's like, if that, like they heard the gunshots, like they literally should have gone over there and be like, I swear to God, if you talk, like they should have been a lot more aggressive about shutting them up. Like they were like, Artie, don't record. Stop it. Turn it off. Yet they ended up recording every student in the room.
Which we don't even know until the end of the episode.
Yeah. But even like with the segment we see, he's recorded Jarly next to him and Sam.
Well, Sam shuts it off.
Yeah, Sam's the one who shuts it off. But
then later
he ends up actually having a segment later.
It was still like 2 minutes of talking. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was like, what are they doing? Because then also, Kitty confesses to Marley that she took in her costumes to make her feel fat. And Marley hugs and forgives her. And then Kitty's like, I have to go. And she runs across the room.
But like, we don't know why.
You should not be moving
never does anything
in that room. You should be staying put exactly where you are. Like, obviously, they wanted to take advantage of the drama. But I think given the circumstances of when this episode aired and when they wrote it, that is really poor taste, because they're clearly just using this very intense situation to get people to talk and say things and like have these dramatic moments. Like,
yes,
there's a moment with Ryder, and it's like, that's all this is. It's all it is just tension.
I mean, let's be honest. A school shooting for a TV show is going to be extremely high tension, escalated, but in no way should there be like conversations and like these emotional pieces of story coming out, because that is not how, like, everyone reacts differently, but if you're trying to stay alive, all of this would happen after the school shooting, because you're trying to stay alive during the school shooting, and then afterwards is when you decide, you know,
holy shit, I almost
have
died.
to come clean.
100%.
That's the logical steps of like how this probably would have worked out, or maybe how it could have gone.
And they could have done that in writing, and they chose not to.
No, it should not have happened in the quiet room at all.
And at the end of the day, they had a school shooting in the episode of the same TV show where they just serenaded a cat like 10 minutes earlier.
The tonal, like, flip-flopping that this episode did was immensely
insane.
It was so terrible. Like, I didn't know what I was watching.
And when you get to, okay, so they literally were in the choir room because they were going to do another last chances type for the rest of for the theme of the week. They were going to do another performance like that. And so that means the whole episode, that's what it was about, last chances. And then they wedge this in there, and it literally comes down to like, you had started the episode with the conspiracy theory from the dumbest girl in your group, and you used that to have this theme, and then this very real thing happens. It doesn't make any sense. Like, we'll talk about it later, but like when Brittany's talking about her meteor thing, everyone's like, didn't this happen already? Like, didn't we talk about this during the Mayan apocalypse episode? And it's like, why are we doing this again? Oh, that's right, because there was a school shooting 4 months ago and you want to do an episode about it. Got it. Like, it's really, really in poor taste that clearly the episode is about last chances. They say that at the top of the episode, and then this very real thing happens. They take advantage of that in the same way. It's just, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. While they're there, Marley decides to call Katie, who's been
Ryder.
Ryder. So what did I call him?
What?
You said Marley.
Katie. Wait, Ryder?
Marley decided to call Katie. I was like, oh, Marley's getting in on this. Okay.
Ryder decides to call
Katie, who we will discuss, he realized earlier was catfish. And he's like, but I still care about her. And he calls her, and then someone's phone
it's coming from inside the house.
Someone's phone in the choir room starts ringing, and he just lets it ring. And then they're like, shut up, like, hang up the call.
Turn it off.
Also, I legit thought that, kind of like Sam trying to go after Brittany, I thought Ryder was going to go and find that phone. And I believed this was going to happen because Glee would fucking do that, clearly. But they didn't. But still, like, he did. He just let it keep ringing. He just stared there. And everyone's like, are you fucking kidding me? But I think the coincidence, the people around him instantly think, oh, you're calling that phone that's in here. Not, oh, that's a weird coincidence. That like, who knows? That could have been someone's parent calling them.
Oh, that's true. Interesting. I didn't even think of that.
So the show is clearly, it's showing its hand like, everyone in the room knows this coincidence has to be exactly this thing. It can't just be something else. I don't know. I think like they should have taken his phone and like hung it up. And if the phone kept ringing, that would be interesting. But obviously they didn't have that in mind. They wanted it to be like, okay, Ryder knows it's someone in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, not the time for this
No.
drama.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So Brittany is shown in the bathroom standing on a toilet crying. It's actually that's probably to me the most emotionally heart-wrenching part of it, because it's the most realistic, because she's not shenaniganing and running around and doing all this stuff the other kids are. She is just like crying, trying to stay quiet,
standing
frozen
on the toilet and just like
she's hiding,
staying there.
And then Will goes to get her,
which we don't see. I don't.
Yeah. So because they wanted us to be afraid for Brittany's life, they wanted to play up the drama of this situation, you know, because they can. It's an effective storytelling device, but again, it's in poor taste. Like, this is just not the context in which, this is not the show in which to do this.
No.
Yeah.
Can I say that it was like somewhat strange to me? It now makes sense later after seeing the episode, because of all of the loopity-loops that we had to go through to get a school shooting from this show. I was wondering why we weren't hearing shots coming closer and more screaming, and, you know, like, as would be expected from someone trying to build tension.
Yeah, it is actually kind of strange that, like, we only heard the sounds in the choir room. We didn't hear really anything outside except for, you know, the other gunshot.
There was
nothing in when we only heard the bathroom when we were with Brittany.
There's no escalation of like movement of the school shooter towards where these kids are hiding, which you would expect from this sort of storyline.
But we didn't need it. We didn't need that.
No, you don't need it. But the way that they filmed it, and like it turned into an extreme drama action sequence. Action, not really, but I was kind of expecting that sort of feel, and it never happened.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, the way it's shot, it feels like it feels like a whole different show, that like you're expecting these sort of plot or storytelling devices to be happening,
right?
But it's just not. Yeah, it is. It's such a strange sequence. And then like also like there's a scene when we're outside where there are people rushing out of the school, which I didn't understand why, because
we have Tina trying to get inside.
Yeah, which that was just dumb. I just didn't understand, like, okay, why are we outside? Oh, okay, we know that Tina's okay, cool. But also, like, why are all these people walking outside? Like, how did they
exit
evacuate?
The building?
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just like, we're not supposed to care about any of those other things. We're only supposed to care about the Glee Club because it's a show called Glee. And it's just so weird.
It's very strange. And I also the idea that, I don't know how to put this, all of the Glee Club kids seemed in this moment to have like not super realistic reactions, in my opinion. But like I said before, everyone reacts differently, but a lot of them were having like the very like heroic, I want to do this before I die type of mode. And I feel like that is not
especially
typical.
For 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, that's not typical at all.
I don't know. I feel like when I was a teenager, that was when I was at my purest and most heroic.
I think, again, it is a thing of like everyone reacts differently, but it just, like, Tina's not someone I would expect. Yeah, that's not someone I would expect. Sam, sure. I guess I could see Sam doing that. I would see Finn doing that.
Kitty?
But yeah.
No, not Kitty.
No, Kitty's going to be hiding under the piano, kicking people away, be like, no, this is my hiding spot.
I wish if I wish we could have seen a little bit more realism from this. Even I don't know that it's not even. I wish it didn't happen at all.
Yeah, that's what I wish I saw more realism, and I'm like,
no,
really what
I
you
think
no, I know I don't want it to happen at all. But
see,
I
I think
had to watch it, and now I'm like, how could this have been better? Like that it wouldn't have existed. But you know,
I think that it's one of those things where like you see it and you're like, oh, this is like somewhat well done. Like there's a lot of good tension and you want to see it be done better. But obviously like this is not the context. But I also just kind of I sometimes have a problem with movies that are based on real events that are showing these stories. And it kind of just feels like I'm being put through the same sort of emotional torture that they are for my entertainment. So that's also another thing I struggle with in this is that like, oh, this is really well done. The tension's good, but I'm also like, I feel gross watching this and being like entertained in a sense by it.
Well, and I feel like, and I've never been through a school shooting, but I was at a shooting during Memorial Day on a beach. So I kind of the whole time was comparing my experience and what I was feeling to how these kids were reacting. And I wasn't, it didn't seem real to me at all.
I was surprised that no one was like, where are the police? Why aren't we being saved? Like, why can't we get out? That type of thing. Like,
well, the
I was
whole
surprised
thing I
that
was
wasn't
thinking was
happening.
like, okay, what's the response time? Like, where are we in Ohio? And like, how long is this going to take? And eventually we do get to the scene where there's SWAT in the school.
Oh yeah, so that's when Shu rescues Brittany, and then
he just leaves. Which, like, I'm like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to go.
You're not supposed to leave.
That, and so he comes back with another Cheerio, another student who are also hiding in the bathroom, and a fucking SWAT team member sees them. That SWAT team member would have been like, "Put your fucking hands up and get on the ground." Like, they wouldn't just let him pass. They would be like, you have to put your hands up and show that you're not packing and get down. Like, they're out and about when they shouldn't. Like, that would not happen. Like, they would have had a gun pointed at them and they would have been like, get down right now.
Yep.
Like, obviously, like, the show isn't all about realism really ever, but in a sequence that's like this, like, you kind of, and this will also go back to what this school shooting really was, is that you really have to have your facts right when you do something like this, because otherwise you're using a fantasy. You're using
just to get views.
You're using
gross.
a danger fantasy. It is gross. It is really gross.
So then they're all cleared and they all hug, even the random people that just they got them.
I noticed that too. I was like, those poor people. At first they're like off to the side, and then they're like, all right, bring it in, group hug, and they're on the outskirts like, okay, I guess.
I was like, I knew something was up with this episode the minute we started getting reaction shots from the band.
I can't wait to talk about that. Oh my God.
So then the next day, there's like metal detectors and everything, and Beast is still worried, and she was like, they either stashed the gun somewhere at school and they're searching everywhere, so they're gonna find it, or they brought it home, they can't bring it back because of all the security.
Well, we assume it's the next day. We don't really know. There's no actual timeline.
Yeah, because we don't see anyone going home and saying hi to their families. It's just like they're at school again and they're being like, yeah, like Blaine was like, yeah, my parents sat me down. We talked for hours. And
did they call his brother?
Oh yeah. Did they? No, probably not. But Sue, she has to go through the metal detectors, right? Everyone does. And she gets upset at the police officer or SWAT dude or whoever it is looking at her donut. She's like, really? And it's like, Sue, there was a shooting. Like, she has acted more serious when Kurt was getting bullied by Krofsky and getting threatened than she did in this whole sequence. Like, well, this part of the sequence, I should say.
Yeah.
She was like, she brings in the donuts to the teacher's lounge. She's like, here's some donuts, but the cops got their grubby hands all over them. And it's like, she's being her own self, but like someone would have been like, this is not the time to be acting like your normal self. Like, show some, respect.
Well, because she's like, why are you all so nervous? Like, and they're like, this is a big deal. They're going to find who it is and they're going to be expelled. And then she's like, no student is going to get expelled because it was my gun.
Yeah. And like, maybe they're having her act so weird about it because she's trying to deal with her own situation here. But I don't know.
Yeah. And so then she goes to Figgins, the worst principal in the world. Still, even in this sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I had a gun, and I was cleaning it, and I accidentally dropped it. Her name is Uma Thurman.
She went to do her daily security check.
Yep.
She pulled it out, and it misfired somehow. That's all she says. And then I think she says she dropped it or she got startled and it shot again. Something like that. Very dismissive. She did not say that that she had to load it.
Nope.
She didn't say any of that.
Cleaning it? Nope.
So here's the major issue that I'm sure Alyssa will agree with, is that this is not how you store a gun. It just isn't.
Not how you store a gun. It's
safely.
not even how guns really work.
Yeah. It's so basically, and Lyle and I talked about this, but the safe way to store your gun is to have it completely unloaded and your ammunition
make sure the chamber's empty.
Chamber has to be empty, completely unloaded. Ammunition is separate from it.
Yep.
And it should be locked up in some sort of sealed safe, something, a gun case, whatever. She did not follow any of these rules of just basic gun safety if this actually is her gun. But then, so that was my main issue, was like then she just totally fucked up. And then she's talking to Figgins and she's like, well, armed teachers, it's a lot different than when we started teaching. We have to protect ourselves and our students, which is a political issue, and we're not going to get into it.
Can we also talk about the line that I just about wanted to throw up, where she was like, we don't have the safety net of the mental health, or what was it? We don't have the mental health safety net anymore. And I was like, oh, when did we have a mental health safety net?
Right?
I don't remember that being a thing.
Do you know why that it isn't a thing? Because school shootings are still happening. So
she's referring to asylums not being a thing.
That's not what she said.
No, but that's when they say that's what they mean.
Oh, that is not what I got from that.
That's what I got from that, is that our mental health system has actually
it was
declined.
Good. And
Yes, no, but like, there's people. If she's
people talking about asylums,
would assume asylums.
Okay, I
and stuff
can
like
see that
was a public mental health system, and there was a time when that all got defunded, and that's a whole thing. So that's what she's referring to.
Okay. I feel like that's, that's Glee sometimes. They pack a lot into one line.
I'm trying to, unpacking Sue is really difficult for me because they make her so clowny, and then they also pack a bunch of conservative issues into her character. And trying to separate the clownishness and making fun of conservative issues within this situation makes no sense. So that conversation was just it
was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, because Figgins is basically agrees with her that teachers should be armed, but he's like, but I can't debate that, or
Yeah, so this is going to some of the research I did. I basically just looked at the Glee Wikipedia. I shouldn't even call it research, but the Glee Wikipedia sums up sort of the critical response. And one of those responses was something that we've talked about a lot. Glee likes to touch on these big hot button issues, but do it very poorly and very not in depth, just very surface level. And that's what this is. It's basically saying, yes, Figgins may have some opinions on arming teachers, but he's not a lawmaker. He can't actually decide that. He doesn't want to debate it. So it's like the show doesn't want to get into that. They just want to use the trauma for entertainment. And then we get a scene of what actually went down.
Yeah, well, because Sue goes on this whole thing like, I trained all these women and educated them, and also be remembered for is this.
It's going to be the first line in my obituary. And I actually don't think it would be, because people who write obituaries are like the people who love you. So
yeah, exactly. Well, her sister's dead. Her mother's a Nazi hunter.
Maybe she wouldn't have an obituary, which is kind of sad.
Santana and Brittany. So all I can think of while she's saying this is, well, she definitely comes back to the school. Like, she has to. She's Sue. This isn't just the last time she's going to be here. How the fuck are they going to get her back in the school without outing Becky?
I actually legitimately was thinking, is this how they write off Sue?
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way they would do this.
Well, because Will comes in and he's like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't line up. There has to be something I can do to help you. And I'm like, oh, gosh, Will.
Shoot, no one wants you to help anyone. Get the fuck out of here.
The fact that they still kind of are like writing this weird line of friendship that is not friendship, I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, she literally ends the whole conversation on thanks, bud, or bye, buddy, or something like that. I was like, what? You hate each other. You're mortal enemies.
Yeah.
And then she's like, look out for Becky. She, like all the kids, gets scared sometimes.
And so that comes sort of at the end of watching what really happens.
Yes, that's after we find out
Becky
the truth
is in Sue's office.
This is a flashback.
And they're talking and Becky's like, I'm scared. And she quite literally says, like, I don't feel prepared for the real world, which is a huge issue. So let's table that. And then Becky pulls out a gun. And Sue says, where did you get that? She's trying to defuse the situation. And Becky's like, it's my dad's. Okay, that's another issue. Let's table that.
Yep.
Then Sue goes, okay, like, let's just talk about this. Give me the gun. And Becky looks like she's handing it over, but she has her finger on the trigger and she pulls it. It scares her. She drops it and it goes off again.
Right. So she accidentally pulls the trigger, which, in case anyone ever listening to this is going to hold a gun, never keep your trigger finger on the trigger.
Nope.
You only put your finger on the trigger when you're ready to shoot.
Yes. So the two issues that I pointed out, and I'll talk about the second one, is Becky has a loaded gun that is her dad's. I was looking on Everytown America, I think that's what it was. But yeah, everytownresearch.org. They have studies of like, there are so many children ages like middle school to high school who have access to guns that are not properly stored, i.e. they're loaded and they're not locked in the safe. Like a lot of kids probably aren't taught proper gun safety at all, even if there is a gun in the house. And then she also has special needs. So there's something else to this that like they're putting a lot of blame on her, and her being special needs of any sort feels really scapegoaty in a really uncomfortable way. So actually that's the third issue.
I actually, while I was watching the episode, I kind of got this feeling. I think it was like right around the time when I started getting the like idea that we should be hearing more gunshots and screaming, and I knew something was up with the way the shooting was going down, and then I was like, they're not gonna put this on Becky, are they? Like, and I was like, no way, that's not gonna happen.
And obviously we don't know anything else that happens with Becky after this episode, like as of right now.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
But she's not well. There's something wrong with her. And her main advocate is gone.
That is very true.
So there's that fourth issue. But the first issue I brought up is that she's terrified and feels that she hasn't been prepared for the real world. I mean, special needs or not, there's a lot wrong with the education system that doesn't prepare children for the real world. But being special needs, there's something else to that like the program at her school and really any school is just often not enough. So that's like a whole other issue that they're putting in here just by simply pinning this on Becky, making it her trauma, her struggle. And it's, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say other than just like pointing out the issues that Glee is bringing up and just like sweeping under the rug. Because next week is regionals or whatever, right? Probably.
I have no idea.
So it's
the
like
calendar is all askew. I don't know how many days passed in this episode. No clue.
I don't either. So yeah, it's there's just a lot that they bring up.
It felt almost like they were trying to lessen the severity of the situation by putting the gun in Becky's hand, but in actuality what they did is the complete opposite.
Oh, they made so much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because, and that's the thing is that I what I was really looking for when I was trying to look at the research is sort of what is the typical shooter in these situations? You know, like, are they kids who've been abused? Are they former students coming back? You know, like what is the sort of common denominator, if there is any? But my thinking is that they chose Becky, who didn't seem to have the intent to shoot up the school, because she's like, I want to be protected. That's what she said. And then she pulls out the gun. So I think their instinct was, oh, well, if we use Becky, she's just gonna, the audience isn't gonna feel like that she's actually a threat, that these kids are still in danger. It has sort of lessened the realism of what, Sandy Hook Elementary and other schools have gone through, is that this wasn't necessarily the case. Like, people would come to these schools with guns to do damage.
Yeah, the intention is to kill people.
Yeah.
And that's something that Glee is just not really prepared to handle.
And it makes sense because they're a comedy musical show.
Yeah.
If they're gonna do you like, that's what I think is like, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. If you want to talk about an issue like this, do it in a tertiary way. They could have had like a vigil episode where like they're educating the audience on the issue, on the general research, and then also like commemorating the lives lost and the trauma that's been had. If you want to talk about the issue, don't use the event as trauma entertainment.
They wanted to scare us.
But yeah, but it didn't do anything effective. Like, I didn't learn anything. I didn't know how to put any of this trauma into action. It's purely just like entertainment, just to scare you. It's a scary movie.
Well, and it shows how far Glee has come in terms of its now in season 4, how not relevant it is anymore to the wider cultural conversation. Yes. They're trying to be relevant, whereas like we joked before early on, like Glee is the show that invented gayness. Like Glee was actually kind of new and relevant and envelope pushing on these other social issues. And not always, well, Anyone who listens to us talk about this podcast knows it wasn't always well. Especially some of the stuff with Kurt and stuff. It like was very real and relevant and like did start conversations. Whereas I feel like this episode contributed nothing to the school shooting conversation.
Absolutely. And that's what the critics. That's what some of the critics said, that like it's pinpointing a hot button issue, but not doing anything to further the conversation. It's purely just stagnant.
And it's really hard to address this in a non-problematic way, because a lot of people, like certain shows like 13 Reasons Why talk about school shootings. And in those shows, they were like, you just need to be kind to these people.
Yeah.
And as someone who believes in kindness and advocates for kindness, like, yes, but you can't really, that implies that victims of school shootings weren't kind enough, or it was some kind of failure on their part.
Yep. But and
kindness doesn't always fix these issues.
That, and it doesn't assume sort of the randomness that sometimes people are just like unhinged and just not well. They don't have the services they need, and they take it out in violent ways. So like, that's not an issue that kindness could even fix.
Yeah.
You know,
because Sandy Hook, I mean, it wasn't kids who went to the school.
No, I don't think so.
No, yeah, because that was an elementary school. Yeah. It was an act of violence to show their violence and their aggression and their anger. They knew it would horrify people. And
then the other thing, and this will kind of get us into the broader story if we wanted to get into that. But yeah, a 20-year-old went to this school and shot them. But the broader thing with the story is, I don't know if anybody who's listening knows this, but there are people who don't believe that Sandy Hook and many other school shootings have actually happened. They think it's government framing. They think it's a conspiracy theory.
This is the type of conspiracy theory I do not subscribe to.
This is, yeah. So that's why I was like, I mean,
just
your actual sanity.
Let you all know.
So in that regard, I feel like it's incredibly dangerous to have wedged this trauma entertainment into the episode that starts with a fucking conspiracy theory. It's a really weird connection that maybe they couldn't have even predicted. But even then, like, even after a few months, people were like, no, that didn't actually happen. That was the government. That was Obama. Like, Obama's making that up. Like, that's the thing, is that they knowingly or unknowingly, probably unknowingly, accidentally pinned these two things together. And it's just like, especially in 2021, it's very uncomfortable, especially given there's so many conspiracy theories that are, you know, insanity driven rather than cryptid driven.
Yeah.
It feels, it just kind of feels like this is one of those episodes that I think Netflix should be putting a warning in front of. Like a very clear, like, this episode was made in 2013, and these people were assholes who wrote it and directed it. They didn't realize what they were doing, but they did something really horrible, and just keep that in mind while you watch it, type of warning.
Which maybe Amazon Prime has, because Glee is leaving Netflix.
So we actually got to talk about that, because I'm thinking if it's leaving Netflix, it's probably leaving Amazon Prime. Disney's probably reining in all of their Fox properties and let those.
I think it's probably gonna.
We'll talk about some solutions, but yeah. So for anyone listening, sometime in December, I think.
Like at the end of November.
At the end of November.
Yeah.
Well, literally in a couple weeks, Glee will not be available on Netflix. Presumably, it'll still be on Prime, but I'm thinking their contracts are probably coming up, and they didn't renew them with various things. Yeah, we'll keep you up to date on where you can find Glee and more content like this if you really love this episode of Glee. But yeah, this episode And then it gets worse sort of with the final song that they sing. I don't know when you want to bring that up, but
we're gonna bring that up because so Tina is talking to Blaine and she's upset. She's like, oh, it sounds crazy, but I wanted to be in there with you guys. And Blaine's
like, absolutely not, bitch.
And he's like, it was terrifying. He's like, but you were there. You were there. Like, we felt you there. It's like,
what?
Oh, Blaine.
It was very strange. It was like she died.
That's what I thought too. Was like, did you think she was dead and she was already there in spirit? Like, what the fuck?
And then she's like, you guys are my family. And then
I would have hated that. My last thing I ever said to you was a snide comment about me not getting solos, and I literally went, Tina, you messy bitch.
Also, that wasn't the last thing we heard.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. So basically, I don't even remember where that scene went, but she started crying, and Blaine was like, oh, it's okay. Thanks for making my trauma all about you.
Yeah. Yeah, and they go into the choir room and they start singing John Mayer's Say What You Need to Say.
They did John Mayer so dirty.
If I believe that man could be done any dirtier than he's done himself, I would agree.
That's true. That's true. When I started hearing that song, I was right. Because I said halfway through the whole shooter sequence, I was like, the beginning of the episode was last chances. I was like, this episode is just using this sequence to get the characters to say things that they need to say to get off their chest, that they need to come to terms with and make amends. And then they end on John Mayer, Say What You Need to Say. I was like, oh my God, I was joking. But wow, you fucking did that. Okay. So one of the few times I was not happy to be right.
There are only 3 songs in this episode.
And you know what? I think like my third line that I wrote in my notes was, oh no, it was after More Than Words came out. I was like, damn, they are killing it with the music this week. Probably a poor choice of words on my part.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest though, I mean, this episode could have been a lot worse. They could have broken out into song during the lockdown.
I'm trying to think what they would sing, but I shouldn't even go there. You're a Shooting Star by
and that's just the title. They've
Earth, Wind,
done
and
worse
Fire.
connections.
Yeah, they saved that for, I think that's in Camila Cabello's Cinderella.
Uncomfortable.
So then, so while they sang, there was like all these shots of like Kitty and Unique and Sam and everyone saying final messages to their family.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, this was like the flashing back to when Artie was recording on his phone. Yeah.
So in the actual sequence, he records Marley,
Jake,
and
I think Ryder.
I think all 3 of them. And then in this final part, they get Kitty.
Unique.
Did they do Unique?
Yeah.
I don't think I remember hers. Artie did
She was
his.
way across the room, so that wouldn't make any sense because how the fuck is Artie gonna get over there?
That's what I was thinking.
Wheelchair.
And then Artie's is like, I just want to say that like I love these people so much, and this is like the best time of my life, or something like that. And that's how it ends. That's how the episode ends. And I'm like, oh, so this episode literally used this incredible trauma just to like, basically like you only live once. So like tell the people you love them. Like, how gross is that?
It's also like no one ever is gonna look back on a traumatic experience like that and say, this is the best moment of my life. Like, no one.
Well, he meant being in Glee.
But still, it is like,
at the very least, it's poor wording. Like,
yeah, it is. I also thought that too. I was like, that's a really weird thing to say at this moment when you're in a school shooter situation. But I just thought like that's how it ends, and I'm like, that's what we're supposed to take away from this. That's gross. Because think about all those parents who don't get to see their kids again. That's all I could think. I was like, I don't know. I cannot believe that this happened in Glee. Like, I knew it was happening, and that's part of the reason why it's just the three of us, because I knew it would be chaos. But I don't understand. I would paid as much as I could to be in the writer's room when they decided we're going to do a school shooter episode, and what the intentions were behind that writing. I would love to hear that. What did they think they were actually going to contribute? Like, I do genuinely mean that, not in like a sarcastic way. Like, what did they genuinely want to do with this episode? And did they actually do that? Do they think? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it would be interesting to get the perspectives from the writers, but it just... Did someone tell them they had to write this episode? Like, that's
Ryan Murphy comes in days after Sandy Hook and goes, guys, we're a relevant show. We need to do this trauma service. We need to honor these people with an episode of our shitty television show.
But that's probably like really close.
Honestly, someone from the network probably was like, yeah, we should probably do something on those school shootings that have been happening, right? They're in a school. They're like, Degrassi did it. Apparently.
Yeah. I don't know. This is all speculation.
Obviously, all speculation. We don't know the writers. They don't know us. Hopefully they don't listen to the podcast. Or if they do, hit us up, because we do genuinely want to know, like, what happened? Why did this happen?
Also,
what were the intentions?
Why are you listening to our podcast?
Why are you listening to our
They're
podcast?
getting ideas for the reboot.
Oh, smart. Be sure to include us.
We'll sue you. We want some credits. These are
I don't know if I want to be attached to a Glee project.
I want a credit.
Even though I am technically, because we
credits are like it's like currency here. So
you're right. I wouldn't know. I don't live in LA.
It's nice when you have a credit.
I don't know. I'm so sick of talking about this part of the episode, because believe it or not, there's more to the episthis.
There's more. So Beast,
and I think that's what makes it worse.
Yes.
Is that, like, this wasn't just the whole episode. This was like 15 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, the last like maybe 20 minutes of the episode was the school shooter thing and the aftermath.
Are we doing the Beast and Will one now?
Yeah, we're doing Beast. So Beast invites Will to dinner in the locker room.
Yes. Okay, let's break that down first. She has like a Lady and the Tramp set up, because apparently that's their favorite movie.
It's one of our favorite movies, and Will is like the Godfather, and she's like Lady and the Tramp.
Okay, but when I saw that setup, I was immediately like, it's the Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, really, like, it's very obvious, Shu. Come on. But yeah, it's in the locker room. And she says, oh, well, I brought you here because I wanted to have dinner with one of my favorite people. And also is like, apparently there's, a comet coming to the earth and going to destroy us. And I want to take this chance, to do whatever. But all I kept thinking of was why would you do this? Because that Brittany was wrong about the Mayan apocalypse thing that you helped her get fake married to Sam with.
She was the one who fake married them.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's almost as if the writers were like, hey, we didn't really finish that Mayan apocalypse story because it clearly didn't happen. What if we just continue it in this episode?
So Beast is like, you're the first man to ever make me feel like a girl.
Which is an interesting statement. Am I right, Cullen?
Yes.
It's a very interesting statement. Let's keep a note of that. Okay.
You were the first one to kiss me and all this stuff.
Be willing to kiss me.
Be willing to kiss me. And Will is like, I'm so happy to be that man in your life. I get off on being a savior.
Who kissed you without your consent.
As a pity gesture.
In this very locker room, I think.
Yeah, it's just like this. Whenever he's interacting with Beast, we get Will. I almost call him weak. We get Will in peak white savior mode. Like
This
I am a
white
handsome
hetero man. heterosexual
cisgender man.
Look at the dimple in my chin.
And like I can give you dignity.
Yeah.
Like affection, and for me, I make you worthy. And Beast is like, you know, we're both single and I want you to be the man in my life. And Will is like, I got back together with Emma. Like, I like you as a friend.
Yeah, he says that instead of I'm not interested. Which I feel like would have been the better thing to say is that I'm not interested. Also, I am back with Emma.
And so she's like, I don't have an appetite anymore. And she runs off. And then,
oh wait, we forgot the most important part of the scene. He talks about the noodles, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I made those in one of the soaking tubs back there."
The hot tub. She boiled noodles in the hot tub.
And he keeps eating.
Where the sweaty athletes bathe and like soak their muscles because they hurt or something. I'm not sports.
Something about it just makes them perfect al dente.
But then she says, "Oh, it's okay. I changed
the water.
She changed the water. Not she cleaned. She scrubbed it." And he keeps eating.
That's so disgusting. But I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of salt and fat.
Alyssa, no. Alyssa, stop. Alyssa, stop. Cullen, you're gonna come home one day and Alyssa's making pasta in her bathtub.
Two major things that you need to be eating.
We're done.
Okay?
We're done.
Salt.
We're done. This is a quote from The Office. Forever stop this story.
This is literally like Creed's. This is something that Creed would say.
Yeah.
Acid, salt, and fat.
Okay, so
it looked like good spaghetti though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was good prop spaghetti. The props department did a really good job. Proud of those PAs who unfortunately had to reset it every fucking time they did a new shot, a new take.
And so she leaves, and then Will brings her to the classroom to join in, and then that's when the school shooting happens.
Yeah, so he's like, we're gonna sing some songs, break out some dance moves. I may even rap. He threatened her with rapping, and that's when the gunshots started. And that's suspicious.
And then at the end, he is like, you are strong. Words I would use to describe you
are brave, strong
inside and out.
Inside and out.
Which I'm like, that's not one word.
Yeah.
And then
because he says the first word I would describe you as is brave, and then he says a bunch of other things. You wear great red lipstick. And then he's like, that's what I put on your online dating profile. It was eSymphony. Which they have open in the high school library. Pretty sure that site would be blocked and not really the most appropriate place to be showing your teacher's private dating profile. Because the kid after that is instantly going to be like, let's check out the history on this computer, the browsing history.
And she matches with Ken Tanaka in Oregon.
I screamed.
I was like, okay, this is the only good part of this.
This was the best joke of the entire series.
The only good part of this.
Yeah, because she was like, do you think anyone's actually even going to message me? He was like, oh, look at that. You have already got one message. And it's like, he's a former football coach too. And then opens up and it's fucking Ken Tanaka's picture. I was just like, oh my God, this is actually really funny. And then I remembered this is the same episode in which they had a school shooter and I felt very upset again.
And I hated this because it's Will being like, oh, you
helpless woman.
I'm going to help you date because I can't give you me, which is the ultimate prize.
Clearly.
And
you can settle for Ken Tanaka.
instead of Beast being like, I heard your message loud and clear. I'm going to sign up for online dating and put myself out there. Life's too short.
Yeah, she could have done that. And that sounds like her character.
Yeah,
it does.
Like it does sound like her.
It doesn't, because anytime it comes to like being romantically involved, she's not who she usually is.
Right. I think,
It's
but her
like
being
two separate
straightforward,
characters.
being like, yeah, you know what? I get it. That's cool. We can still be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that like, I'm going to do my own thing. Like whatever that is, like she would have the agency to do that. Like she has proven that before.
Why even have her be interested in him in the first place? Maybe she could just be like, I think I'm ready to start dating, but I don't really know where to start. And we're friends, remember? Because we went through this thing together like 45 episodes ago. So
And we once went to a honky tonk bar.
Like, help me.
Her photo that he put on there was of her doing the bull riding thing at that honky tonk bar. I was like,
so that's really the end of Weast. So
hopefully forever.
Yeah, let's hope. So let's talk about Ryder getting catfished. So
I have thoughts.
Ryder and the catfish, ratfish.
Yeah, the only like part of the episode that I thought they were gonna reveal, because this is like the big thing.
Okay, so I edited the episode with Nick because I wasn't there, and so you guys posed a theory, which I'm pretty sure is right based on this, but I hadn't even thought about it. I cared so little about this that I devoted zero time to thinking about who the catfish could be. But was it 2 episodes ago when we find out Ryder has this online dating or online friend who's also a girl. I did not think of Unique at all. And the stuff you were saying about like, because again, I gave 0 shits about the storyline, but it makes sense that this person would be saying all these things about getting Ryder to think from Unique's perspective. So I definitely think the evidence is there, and I totally support that theory. I'm
going to be really disappointed if it's not, because
I did not think I thought they were going to forget about that whole thing, because last episode they didn't talk about it at all.
No, they didn't.
And then they brought it up. I was like, oh, they're still carrying through this. Oh, okay.
But then like, this is the moment like where everyone's revealing their secrets and spilling. And I was like, okay, this is going to happen. This is the reveal.
I thought Unique was going to slide over and be like, hey, so I'm Katie. So, but that didn't happen.
No.
Because Unique is the only person who's actually concerned for her safety and knows how to do things. She's like, she knows. She's like, this is not the time to do this.
So Ryder is in class, and he tells Jake that he's in a text relationship, as he calls it. And he saw her walking down the hallway, and he almost walked out of his English class, which was about 1984, which he doesn't understand how a dystopian novel could be written 13 years before he was born.
Beast is the one teaching, right?
Yeah.
Like she's there. I thought you were just a coach. I didn't know you were also a teacher.
She's a lit teacher?
So that's confusing.
Okay.
Yeah. And he sees Katie's face walking in the hallway, which was weird because I assumed that this girl went to a different school and that he would never see her in person, because
I think that's what he assumed too.
That's a dumb catfish move. That catfish is kind of dumb.
Well, and it's like, wouldn't where you went to school come up at some point?
Yeah, I go to William McKinley. Holy shit, so do I.
So Ryder's like, I might just like scope out different classes, see if she's in there. And Jake's like, you need a plan. It has to be special. And so then Katie is at her locker, and he's all like, hey. And she's like, hey. And he's like, how's it going? I'm Ryder Lynn. And she's like, I know who you are. And he's like, can I take you somewhere? And she's like, oh my gosh, sure.
She's like fangirling. But okay, he literally says, would you mind coming with me? And I was like, That's some stalker shit. Like that's like
Yeah.
a murder line. Yeah, but she's like thriving in this setting. And then he takes her to the choir room. Guess who's sitting at the piano?
Brad.
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 I thought he quit. That man should have some more self-respect.
He should.
Maybe he just needed the job though.
Yeah, same
So,
boy. Same boy.
There's
feel
some
that.
line that happens later that I don't remember about Brad. And
Oh yeah. I think they pose that he's one of the catfish. Isn't that the line?
Yeah.
Like it could be Brad the piano guy. I think that's what it was.
So I love how the band conveniently wasn't there for the shooting.
Yeah, no, they were
Because the
in
band's
their
always
band
there.
room. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Katie is like, who are all these people? And Ryder's like, oh, the band.
I loved that. And then the band, the one girl, she makes a big appearance and I'm thriving for it. So he sings Elton John's Your Song.
He sings it very well.
A quality
it was
cover.
Good, yeah.
A quality song. Love it. And then I wrote, Katie clearly has no fucking clue who he is, but maybe they'll get together. I ship it.
Well, like she knows who he is, but because he's the quarterback. But he doesn't
know
who
he is.
She has no clue.
That actress was very cute and she was giving it all. Like she acted her part very well.
Oh yeah. Especially when she found out that she was being catfished and her identity had been stolen. She played that excellently. AKA not realistically at all.
No.
He was so chill. So I posed this already that like the show has made this big trauma about something that it shouldn't be. And they have clearly made this catfishing situation all about like, oh God, we're going to feel so bad for Ryder. What about this girl whose identity has been stolen? That's fucking terrifying for like a 16, 17-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying. Like she's so chill. Like she's the chillest I've ever seen.
She handles the entire bananas happening. Just like, I guess this is where I am. I guess someone's singing Elton John to me.
She's so chill. And I'm like, why is she not freaking out that some weirdo on the internet has stolen her picture?
Yeah.
Because he's showing her pictures. She's like, oh yeah, no, those are my pictures, but I never sent those texts. Why wouldn't you be like, those are my fucking pictures? Like,
When
what?
did you get this? Whose
Yeah.
number is this?
She should have slapped him. Been like, what are you talking about? Psh. But anyway, that didn't happen.
And she's like, I'm so
And the
sorry.
band, one of the band members,
Ooh.
loved
Like
her.
there's like a
Loved
whole,
her.
I want to say like at least 3 seconds. At least 3 seconds of just her face.
Yes, they do. I was like, I'm here for it. I want the whole episode from her eyes.
And she's like, but like, you're so hunky. So like, call me. Like, I'm sorry.
Not like, I gotta go call my parents. Like, my identity has been stolen.
I have been hacked.
Yeah. So she leaves and then Ryder
And we
is
never
like,
hear from her ever again.
and then Ryder is like freaking out. He like runs over to Jake and Marley and is all like, it was you guys, right? Like, Marley, you're still in love with me. This is your way of showing it. Like, that's
He's
that's
like
fucked
full
up.
on crying.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of impressive, to be honest.
It's a good combo. He's like angry and also like crying, probably because his heart's broken. And also he's embarrassed. And yeah, it's complex emotions for sure. He's doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, it was you, Jake. Like, I get it. I crossed the line. You didn't like me back, but you didn't have to humiliate me and make me feel so pathetic. I thought you were my friends. And Jake and Marley are like, we did not do this. Like, do you want to talk about it? I don't want anything from anyone. And at one point he's like, getting me to send you pictures. And I'm like, the only picture we saw is one that you had in a public calendar
that you sold for money. Yeah, like chill, bruh.
Which it does make me think of, there was a catfishing storyline on American Vandal that was done very well.
I never saw that.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, him like attacking Charlie with words was really like, I got it, but I also didn't get it. That like, he really sort of just like very much assumes that like, no, it has to be them, instead of being like, well, if you guys didn't do it, who?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he would have been like, okay, well, if you didn't do it, then like, who could it be?
Honestly, I feel like if they hadn't made up and there was still animosity between them, then this would make a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
But the animosity just isn't there. It's not really hitting home.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, they have this like these shots where they're texting and you see like black and white faces on like black and white screens.
Why?
This screwed me the fuck up because I kept seeing the black part is the main part. And I was like, what am I looking at?
It's like that optical illusion where like you either see a vase or two faces.
Yes, I was seeing the vase.
Yes, I did too. For a second, I was like, what am I watching? And I was like, oh, okay, those are faces. I get
a talking vase, the ex-boyfriend of the lighthouse.
I get why they had her face blurred out, because obviously he doesn't know who he's talking to, but his face should not have been blurred out. That makes no sense. He knows who he is, right?
This is just a really weird way to do texts. Like why? Why would you do it this way? There are so many simpler ways to do it.
Also, he walks down the hall texting, one hand, having to do it the old-fashioned way with like only the number pad and having to hit one number a bunch of times to get one single letter. Like, he's doing it old school. And I was very impressed. Also, he used the verb I aming, and I literally died. I was like, oh, I'm so old. I was like, don't ever say that verb again.
So then Ryder is going to meet her at 3:30 after school during the mandatory assembly, which the Glee Club kids skip to sing John Mayer.
Oh, yeah. What the fuck is that about? It was probably literally about like, hey, okay, so here's the situation. We've just fired Sue because this is what happened. Like, I feel like they would be explaining all these things to students, be like, you guys are safe. The threat is gone. This is very important information.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be dry because Figgins is delivering the information, but like,
there's no way anyone would even want to skip that assembly. I know a lot of people want to skip assemblies in high school, but after that sort of event.
That's not the one. You want to be like, what's the T? What's the sitch? What's the 411? I'm old.
Yeah. So then Sue sees Ryder and he's like, are you going to write me up for skipping the assembly? And she's like, I don't work here anymore.
He's totally unfazed by that.
I was like, whatevs. And so, yeah, so that's the end of that.
He gets stood up.
Oh, and then they're like interrogating people, like they interrogate Kitty. And Kitty's like, read my lips because I know you don't read words. I'm not catfishing you. You're the human equivalent of a wiener dog. And thinking about us dating makes me drier than the cast of Hot in Cleveland.
Fun fact about that show, Hot in Cleveland. Betty White's character went to Cleveland State, which is my alma mater. Fun fact.
I'm having so much fun.
Thank you. I mean, most of my facts are riveting like that. So
the energy of that is the Vine where the girl is singing and they're like, shut up. And then she's like, yes.
Yeah. I love that Vine. So good. She's like, shut up. Yes.
So they're like, and it can't be unique, and Brittany's dating Sam.
But why can it not be unique?
Because her ringtone is bootylicious.
What?
Her ringtone is bootylicious.
Yeah, but okay, Ryder, use your fucking brain. If you're going to be around this person who you're catfishing, you're going to change your ringtone.
Yeah.
God, people are so dumb.
Yeah, I still want it to be unique because I think that makes the most sense.
I still think it is. It's got to be.
I wanted a little bit more of like when we go to the John Mayer song at the end, unique is there, but there's no reaction from her about like writer coming in or writer being late. And I wish we had a little bit of that.
But that assumes that it is unique. But I feel like,
but that would be good foreshadowing.
I agree. I feel like it just would have been good anyway.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I say I really want it to be her, but also at the same time, because there is not this shot, I'm kind of like, is it actually her?
Who knows? We may never find out, and they're going to forget that it happened.
Yep.
So let's talk about Tubbington Bob.
Oh boy.
So Brittany comes in, and there's this weird, because Will announces their competition for regionals is Hooja Daddies, and
because they're from Indiana.
Yeah, and something about nuns.
Yeah, something.
I don't remember.
And there's like this weird like lens like tunnel thing, and it comes up to Brittany, and she's like the meteorite / comet /
asteroid / meteor.
Tubbington Bob is coming towards Lima.
So that like weird tunnel vision thing, I actually thought it was almost as if like we were looking through the barrel of a gun. That's what I got that because I knew what the episode was going to be. And obviously I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But
what are you talking about though? What tunnel visions?
So like when we first see Brittany, it's like, is it really fish lensy or just not?
It's like it's like zooms through a circle up to her face.
And there's like a border that is sort of like, it's like the inside of a Pringle can, because I'm pretty sure that's what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
Like her telescope.
I don't actually remember seeing this, so maybe I wasn't looking at the screen. I'm not sure.
Maybe. But it is really fast. And but it happens a couple times. I actually thought it was like as if there was a camera down the barrel of a gun or something. Because that's just, I knew what the episode was going to be. But now I know it's a Pringle can. But yeah, so obviously no one believes her. Everyone's like, okay.
We just went through this at Christmas, and then Tina's like, didn't you and Sam get married? Did that happen?
And Brittany's basically like, Tina, shut up.
Yeah, she says, Tina, shut up. And she's like, I want to make amends with someone who's very dear to me, Lord Tubbington. And Sam kind of makes this disappointed face.
Okay,
I felt really sad for Sam.
I thought that she was going to say something about Santana, and I actually read his face as not disappointed, but as like surprised.
Yeah, I don't know why she would need to make amends with Sam. Like, obviously, as the episode goes on, like, he's disappointed that she's like focusing her attention on Lord Tubbington. But
I thought it was like, oh, he like there's distance between them, and he is expecting it to be him, and it's actually her cat, and everyone goes along with it.
So she's back at home, and she's like,
she's
Lord
telling
Tubbington,
Sam what is going on with her and Lord Tubbington.
Yeah, she's like, I forgive you, even though the time you filed the paperwork to have me committed, and you told those police I murdered the whole family of mice. And Sam's like, maybe you should sing Lord Tubbington's favorite song. And then Brittany's like, I stopped singing to Lord Tubbington out of protest, out of when he joined the KKKK.
The Ku Klux Klan for cats. I was like, I wonder what's going on with Brittany's imagination sometimes. Like, she thought that that Lord Tubbington had filed paperwork to have her committed. Like, did her parents do that? Like,
I believe Lord Tubbington did. Like, he was actually reading that book on Scientology, and he was actually online gambling.
Yeah, but please don't actually make house calls for families of mice.
Okay, so you actually think Lord Tubbington is doing this. You don't think it's Brittany projecting?
Yeah, Lord Tubbington is highly evolved.
He's a cryptid.
Yeah.
As a cryptid, he can do these things. However, the way that he interacts with the world, like, for example, calling the police because she murdered a family of mice,
like, how
they wouldn't show up. They would not. That's obviously a prank
So
call.
if we're doing this, if we're saying that he does this, how would he have communicated that? He would just be like, meow.
Meow. Yeah.
And they would have been like, a family of mice? Oh my God.
Glee is a magical realism show, like Jane the Virgin.
I think like, so do you seriously believe that then?
I think.
Is that how you're reading it?
Yeah, because Lord Tubbington does read and he does use the internet.
Okay, that's interesting. I've always been reading it as like Brittany projecting, and I'm so about it, but it does make me worry about her imagination.
Honestly,
so I guess
like,
if I just surrendered to the magical realism, then like it's all solved. But I am worried about Brittany.
if I look at this through a lens, like I can't even be like Brittany's projecting. Like it's either all Lord Tubbington or Brittany is not even projecting. She's like straight up having hallucinations.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think she's like, or like things happen to her and she misconstrues them and projects it onto her cat. Like the family of mice thing, like maybe her parents were like mad at her for bringing dead mice in the house or something. I don't know. Like that's just an idea. But like the thing about like you filed that paperwork to have me committed, like I was like, did her parents do that? And they just said it was the cat, or she thinks it was the cat. I don't know. I'm really curious about Brittany's home life. Would love to meet her parents, learn more about them.
Slightly concerned.
I'll tell you that we will someday.
I have a feeling I know when that will be. Maybe.
So Sam is like, maybe you should sing to Lord Tubbington at Glee Club, so then Glee Club won't feel like you're ignoring, like choosing a cat over them. And she's like, Sam is
projecting.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam is very much projecting.
And she's like, Sam, despite your outlandishly low test scores, you're a genius. And
that's ironic because she would have a shitty test score if she didn't just like hack the SAT and just do whatever she wanted and happened to get a really good score.
Yeah, she's outlandishly lucky. I don't think she hacked the SAT or the ACT. I think she hacked karma.
Yeah, I was like, she did something. I was just using the word hack, but yeah, like she just got super lucky. So I was just like, that's some interesting irony there, Brittany.
So then they say More Than Words to Lord Tubbington.
An amazing song, but then it was directed to the cat, and I was like, I will never be able to listen to this song ever again.
There's a curse
that song.
to having this podcast because I've heard Push It in 2 different contexts recently, and I'm like, my brain goes to, remember they did this in Glee.
Oh my God. So Journey came on the radio when I was hanging out with my mom the other day. I was like, oh my God, a Glee song. And then another song came on. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, oh my God, this is the cover of the Glee song. And my mom was so mad. I was like, I'm sorry, but they ruined music.
Yeah, so they sing More Than Words. Lord Tubbington is just sitting there, just like, meow. And then after the shooting, Brittany and Sam talk about how worried they were for each other, how much they love each other. And Sam is like, we got fake married, so we should start a fake family too.
Okay, so I recently just rewatched Twilight because I forced Lyle to watch the series. He's staring me down right now as I say that. We finished it last night. But that whole like desperation, like, oh my God, I love you so much. We got fake married. Let's start a fake family. Like that sort of like teenage devotion just reminded me so much of Twilight and how toxic that was. Again, I am worried for Brittany. Sam might be a vampire.
Well, I was thinking this was going in a whole bunch of terrible directions.
I thought they were going to have a baby. Oh my God, yeah. You're right. I agree. I was like, I was like, they're gonna go and have unprotected sex. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah,
And then
I was like, what are they talking about? And then briefly I was like, a fake baby?
Yeah.
We already did that plot.
and then he unzipped his oh, you're right, they did. I almost forgot. It's like a whole different show. And then he like unzips it and brings out this other fat cat that looks just like Lord Tubbington. And
It's like Lady Tubbington.
It's Lady Tubbington.
And then she's like, how long was the cat in there? He's like, a while. And then we get his recorded response during the shooting.
It's like, there's a cat in my locker.
Can you feed it? And then I just kept thinking, like, oh my god, the SWAT team are going to find that cat.
The police found the cat.
And then they gave it back to him. They're like, hey, son, I think you lost this. I just...
The cat's face, though, like...
That cat was literally going... Meow. Like, that cat was so angry.
Mad.
It was... But that was, like, the second to last, like, end of the episode sort of recording that they showed. Because the last one was Artie's, but his is the second to last. And I was like... That is not the appropriate tone for that whole sequence. And that's why they put it at the end.
Has had tone issues since day one, and it was very apparent in this episode.
Yes.
I literally am still thinking about him, like, he's like freaking out and like crying, and then he's like, there's a cat in my backpack in my locker. Can you feed it? I'm like, what the hell is going on?
It's like the multiple universe theories. Glee is actually filming all of these in like separate multiple universes. And then there's like this one editor who's like taking the different shows from the different universes and cutting them together.
I mean, we do say that every episode is its own Glee universe, but this episode is multiple Glee universes colliding.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I believe that theory. That is a good conspiracy theory.
Endgame who?
You wish you could snap like Glee. Anyway.
So, yeah, that's the end of all the storylines.
Aren't you glad we got here?
Yeah. So...
Guys, my MVP and LVP stuff is totally empty, and I have to think about that. Oh my god.
Well, you have
okay.
You have a few seconds because it's Tina time. Tina time.
Oh.
She had 7 lines?
Yeah, she had 7 lines. And some of them were like
pretty long.
Some of them were long, and I wasn't sure if I should break them up because people were talking over her, but she didn't pause, so it was like weird.
Nah. I mean, a whole section of her lines were literally just like making the shooting all about her. So, you know.
And then there were several moments where she was like making ooh and sounds. And I was like, is
lines?
That a line?
Though, you know, going to Alyssa's point, how everyone was so like selfless or heroic, Tina does tend to be the person who is the most like a real teenager.
Yeah,
like making something like that all about
herself. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what to say anymore.
So MVPs and LVPs. Hannah, who's your LVP?
I'm just gonna say the entire writing staff and executive producers and network executives who made this episode happen.
I'm going off camera here. Becky's dad.
Oh, good one.
Maybe not specifically Becky's dad, but for whoever left the gun out. Because he might be dead.
Or at least made it accessible to her.
Yeah.
Good one.
I'm going with Lord Tubbington. Because I found out he was racist. And, you know, I always stand with this thick boy. But he is part of the KKK, and I cannot support that.
Yeah. Okay, so back to my theory that if Brittany is just using her imagination to create these things, are her parents in the KKK?
I really hope not.
I hope not too.
Maybe
That
she
doesn't make
met
sense
Emma's
though.
parents.
She's too nice.
Yeah.
But she
Although-
does always mix up
yeah.
Unique and Mercedes.
I know. I was going to say
so-
she can't keep her people of color straight.
But maybe she has face blindness.
That's true. But then she would also not be keeping any of the white people straight.
True. Well, she is bisexual, but nailed it. Didn't land. Nice. If only the listeners could see your guys' faces, just totally just like, Hannah, this is not the episode to make that joke. I don't know how to feel about Lord Tubbington. I also think maybe another honorable mention would be Sam for putting a cat in a backpack and then in his locker. I know he's Sam, but also, you're endangering an animal. Come on.
Hannah, who is your MVP?
Okay. There is one part of me that wants to give, I guess, a little bit of credit to Sue for trying to protect Becky. However, I do not think this was the right decision because based on this, she's not going to get the help she needs if Sue can't be honest with the authorities and be like, this is really what happened. So that's sort of like an honorable mention, but other MVP for real. I literally can't think of anyone.
No, it's really hard.
This episode was just like, it's
Not
so
great.
weird.
Yeah. I'm going Lady Tubbington because her acting skills are off the charts.
True.
I think you took mine. I'll think of something else.
I'm sorry, you were going to literally put the cats as your MVP and LVP.
Yeah. I think my
boy.
MVP is gonna go shout out to Marissa for being the most insanely chill person. For just being like, sing Elton John at me, sure. Lift me
Not
up on
only
this
chill,
piano, sure.
starstruck as well.
Take my identity. I mean, I guess it's fine. Just call me.
Sure. I guess I'll just go with Sue at this point because I do stand by that. I think there is something good to that. Because like her option could have been, instead of like completely taking over, could have been like this is what happened. Becky was terrified. She got access to a gun. That way, like, someone could help stop these issues and get her help rather than just protect her. Because now she's alone. Like, she doesn't have her main advocate there. So that's just going to make the situation worse.
So,
oh God, this list of music, it's going to be so long.
We have your song, More Than Words, and Say What You Need to Say. Hannah, what was your least favorite song?
Say What You Need to Say. I love John Mayer. It's not my favorite song by him, but also they did him dirtier than he sometimes does himself and used this song in such like a horrible context. I mean, the cover was fine, but it's mostly the context for me. It's just like,
I think I'm going to go with the one where Brittany sings to Lord Tubbington.
More Than Words.
More Than Words.
Is it because she's singing to a cat?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
That's what my struggle is.
It was sort of like I enjoyed seeing everybody else's reactions to her singing to the cat, but the level of just integrity that the song has was brought down by several miles.
Yeah.
Just because she was singing it to Lord Tubbington.
Good point.
I'm going with Say What You Need to Say because I hate that song in general. As someone who supports Katy Perry and Taylor Swift and their iconic reunion in You Need to Calm Down, where Taylor dresses French fries and Katy dresses a hamburger. John Mayer did both of them dirty.
He did.
And I have a friend in Boston who punched him in the face.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you told me the story. I remember.
Yeah, John Mayer was like being super sleazy with the guy's like current girlfriend and like wouldn't stop bothering her. And so eventually he just punched John Mayer in the face and he collapsed. And he was like, my friend was friends with like John Mayer's like bass player or something. And he was like, does he remember that? And he was like, you know how many people have punched John Mayer? Yeah. So favorite songs. Hannah, what was your favorite song?
It is a tie between More Than Words and Your Song. I love both of those songs. Your Song's context is less aggravating, a lot less aggravating. It's stunning, actually, because she's so chill and so excited about the whole situation that's happening to her. But I do love More Than Words. So I'm going to say it's a tie between the other two songs.
I'm definitely going with Your Song. It was a good cover. I don't think I've seen Ryder like perform a song as good as he has done this one.
This is the second Elton John song he's done, because he did Bitches Back, the mashup, like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. It was just fun. It was fun to watch the whole situation, especially because we know that she's not Katy. So
yeah.
I liked the cover of Your Song. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought he performed really well. And it was like, I was expecting like, I was so scared. I'm like, is he going to try and kiss her? Like, and then he didn't. And I was like, okay, so like, this is going to be like, she's not going to hate him.
It was just, she's like, oh, wow, this is super awkward. I'm not who you think I am. I kind of wish that she had been more like offended by the fact that he's like, you're Katy. And she's like, I'm Marissa. We have Spanish together. Like, or obviously they couldn't have class together, but like, I don't know. I feel like she should have been more offended, been like, no, actually I'm Marissa. It's just weird that like, she doesn't introduce herself too. She just says, I know who you are. And she's not like, yeah, no, I'm Marissa. We've never officially met. And he could be like, I'm sorry. But then we wouldn't have had that awesome cover.
Yeah.
I don't know. Logic. Throw it out the window.
So, yeah, next week is actually a very exciting crossover.
Oh my goodness.
With the podcast Gleek of the Week.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to be on their podcast. We're going to be ranking some Glee songs.
Oh boy.
So
and they're going to be giving their opinion on an episode, I think that's called Sweet Dreams. So who knows what that's about, because that's a generic
I hope it's about
title.
Annie Lennox and the Eurythmics. Because that's who sings
Sweet Dreams.
Sweet Dreams are made of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So check out that crossover. So sorry we had to do this episode, but everyone's sorry this episode of Glee happened. Where can you find us on social media?
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We are at Gleeboot Pod. You can also find us on Tumblr, gleebootpod.tumblr.com. You
can find me on YouTube at your boy Ryan, and Instagram and TikTok at your boy Ryan99.
And you can find me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen. And I just posted some new pictures of some drawings that I've done. I'm starting to get back into pen and marker drawings. So
yeah, she was testing markers before we started recording.
I was.
And she had a very confused reaction to one of them. So
I did.
Oh. So on that note, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Gleeboot.